This video is going to get interesting very quickly. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of robertoblake.com helping you create something awesome today. So today we got a very interesting topic. How much should you be charging for web design? Well, it depends. There are a lot of different ways to approach this. I have an agency background, but I've also worked as a freelancer and I've worked as an in-house designer at a company that actually would do web design. So there are a lot of different perspectives that I have on this, and there are a lot of different models for charging that people like to use. Immediately, many of you might be thinking of the hourly rate and how much you should be charging per hour for web design. I actually don't like this model, and the reason I don't like this model is because yes, there are ranges you can use that would be fairly appropriate, but it also makes a lot of assumptions that I'm very uncomfortable with. It makes a lot of assumptions about how long a project actually will take in terms of hours, and then it also makes some assumptions based on that on how much time in terms of calendar days you have to commit. From my point of view, this is not a practical way to charge, and the analogy that I've always used is that it's not practical for the client or for you as the creative. And the reason is because if you were painting a house and you're doing it by the hour, you have no incentive to finish the job quickly and move on. Your entire paycheck and pay scale depends on being inefficient, and that's not good for anybody. So that's why I'm not a fan of hourly rates for graphic design or anything creative. I feel like hourly rates are more toward non-skilled, very specific things versus creative things that require technical expertise, creativity, but also require a back and forth dialogue with the client and something being done to their satisfaction. It's too open-ended to just go ahead and slap an hourly fee on, in my opinion. Alternatively, while flat rates are a little better, they also make some other assumptions that may not be comfortable or practical for either party. If something is a flat rate, that means that it's the same amount of money whether you spent 5 hours or 50 hours on it. The client may not be comfortable with that. You as the creative may not be comfortable with that. What I propose is an a la carte system. This is an agency model. It is a service-based model where you assign fees to very specific tasks in the process and you bundle that together and attach a rate to it, and that is a project fee, but it also has all of the individual services for the project broken down. You can include, if you choose, estimations of time and deadlines for each of those deliverable services. That's something that might be very practical and appropriate for you to do. A lot of you thought this was going to be just a quick video with like charge this much per hour or charge this much for this thing and this much for that thing. But the thing is, it is much more complicated than that, and I want to be honest with you and I want to give you a different type of video than you've probably gotten from anyone who's covered this topic. And I just think the most realistic thing for you to do, the thing that's best for a client if you're watching this and you're looking to hire somebody for web design, is to ask them for an itemized bill. And I think for you as a web designer, I think presenting an itemized bill is the most transparent thing you can do, it's the most lucrative thing you can do, and it's the most fair thing you can do. So web designers, I encourage you to break down your process and your scope of work, lay it out, and come up with some ranges and fees for those specific items that you're going to do in the process of delivering a functional website. Once you have that, go ahead and deliver that to your client. And again, I want you to come up with a range because there are different projects that require a little bit more work for some of those tasks than others. When you're coming up with this, you should account for personal internal estimates of your time in the worst case scenario, and you should be giving yourself what you feel is an appropriate fee for your time for that within the range of the amount of time you project at best and at worst you're going to spend on the project. You should also account for any cost that you're going to incur or any resources that you're going to need up front to start the project, and you should also figure out what a healthy deposit is for this project. A lot of people like to do 50-50, half up front, half on completion. Some people like to do it deliverable base. You finish and deliver on a service or a part of a task, you get paid for what the billing was for that service or task, and so on and so forth. Some people do it that way and it stretches things out. Other people like to set up a payment plan and a schedule of increments for their clients. Some people do 3 installments, some people do 4. You have to figure out what you're comfortable with and what makes sense for your business model and just what you can handle. So this video was less what to charge and more how to charge. And I know that that is a little weird, but at the same time, I'm a web designer and I know that the SEO value in YouTube is on how to, so sorry about that. Anyway, I'd love your feedback on this video. I'd love to answer some questions that you might have, so leave those in the comment section. Also, I'm running an interesting poll here. I want to know if you prefer to do hourly rates anyway, despite what I said, or whether you think flat fees are the best, or whether you think that itemized billing is the best. So go ahead and vote on the poll and let me know your thoughts on that. Anyway, if you dig this topic and you want me to cover more web design stuff, let me know that in the comment section as well, because I really love this topic and I would like to cover it a little bit more here on the channel. Anyway, like this video if you like it, don't forget to subscribe, check out the other awesome content on the channel. As always, you guys, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget, create something awesome today.